morning, you guys, and welcome back to TalksWIthTay with your favorite homegirl, D. Taylor Made. Today we got my girl Cass in the building. Come on! I ain't got a soundboard yet.
Am I like podcasty enough to like people know who I am?
Yeah,
no, probably
yeah, she's popular.
If not, which probably not. But my name is Cass. Hey, I originally come from Grit Talk Podcast. Whose man's is this? 20-something-year-old mom, manager, lady in healing, all that good
big
shit.
Big boss Cass.
Yeah, life. That's
Yes. Speaking of life,
I never think I got enough going on for like an intro.
Yeah, no, same. I feel it. That's why I just leave it at your favorite homegirl, because I haven't added to my accolades for the podcast shit. Right now, I'm coming in as your favorite homegirl. But speaking of that, me and Cass are homegirls. So Cass, how was your weekend? Ooh, we had a lot of fun this weekend.
It was a lot of fun. I had a decent weekend. I've been working like crazy, but I had a Friendsgiving situation yesterday, so that was cool.
Cheers.
Played some games, got some adult time in, because having a child like means you get very little of that. So there's that. And then I was working this morning and came here. I think it's been a good weekend for me. Like just enough like me time to take into the week, especially with the holiday coming up, and you don't have to be in a whole bunch of people's faces. I do that all day at work anyway.
No, for real. Let's talk about it. I had a Friendsgiving myself. I threw my second annual Taylor Friendsgiving, and it was cool. It was a nice little turnout. Like, I'm realizing as an adult, like, having that balance between, like, yourself and others is just so amazing. Like, it was nice to catch up and see everybody. And I got, like, this running thing now. This is the second time I done did it, and I done fell asleep on everybody. Everybody love. So, but nonetheless, it just speaks to how good of a time that I had. Because it's just, I don't know, it's like holiday season is here. Like, I'm just filled with love right now. Like, that's all that I feel right now. It's just so much love, so much love. Speaking of love, let's get into it. Let's go ahead and get into today's episode. So, have you listened to my girl Glorilla's album?
I have to. I'm really here for Freshman Glow. Like, I want her to win so bad.
Yeah. Thoroughly impressed. Very impressed. What do you think about it?
No skips.
No skips. I felt that.
No skips.
I felt that.
No skips. I really enjoyed it, and I think like it's fun, and it's a different type of fun that like the rap girlies really haven't been giving us for a while. You know, like it low key gives me like Tina Snow, which we haven't had in a very long time, and I like something different, like. So I'm super impressed. You know, Flo Millie's on the same type of situation too. So I'm like, I'm really fucking with it.
Yeah. That's why I like her. And a little bit of like Candyman too, and even girl, shot from Detroit.
From Detroit.
I like her because they're giving us like that, like. I don't care, I'm getting my money, like forget these, like real FNF vibes for real, and like that's the type of time we on, because it's not like the, like I hate men, let's run they pocket vibe. It's like, bro, I'm doing me, and if he with the program, he with the program. If he not with the program, like,
still do it.
Okay, so yeah, no, I'm feeling it.
Exactly.
I definitely am looking forward to her evolution too. Like I'm eager to see where she go from now, because like you said, like I really think it was a really great freshman album for her. She did her thing. Like that No Love track, or No More Love. I think that's what it was. Yeah. No More Love. Like that was I was like, okay, like that was a hard intro. I give it to her for sure.
And to get that Cardi cosign so early on.
Yeah, for sure. That's major. Let's talk about cosigns for real.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, let's get into it a little bit more. So I don't know if you heard the news, but Twitter is supposed to be shutting down.
I don't know if I'm mad at that though.
No, facts. Let's talk about it.
I don't know if I'm mad at that.
Let's get a little bit more on the mic and talk about it.
I think it's a lot of people on that app specifically who need to go outside and touch some fucking grass.
No, for real.
I don't know. And honestly, social media's just become so, like, overwhelming to me. Like, the comparisons, the blasphemy of it all.
Yeah, no,
like,
for
I
real.
feel like if I know you in real life and follow you on social media, like, that's two different things, and I'm not sure which one I should be running with. You know? And not to mention, like, all of the stuff that it forces us to digest, like, you know,
we're forced to take other people's opinions.
Yeah, really not only that, but then just stuff we're not, like, as human beings supposed to, like, get so much of, like, all these dead bodies that drop on the timeline.
Man,
like all this, like, crazy news. Granted, like, I feel like Twitter is probably one of the most up-to-date and informational sources that we have. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, some people just don't know how to deliver correctly. And those are usually the people that get the most attention.
No, for real. And that I hate that so much because, like you said, it's a little bittersweet. Like, if it does go, I don't think I would be too sad in the sense I definitely feel like it minimizes on, like, the BS opinions and, like, the things we don't really need popping, but, you know, BS sales. But I also think that in that same breath, like, we do lose that source of having real up-to-date information, real-time news of what's going on in the world around us. And even more so than just, I think, like, it is a big piece of, like, connectivity. Because I think we're going, like, a day and age where, like, having, like, the in-person interactions is kind of slowing down. So, like, social media is a big piece of how people stay interacted and connected. And it's literally people I have on my Twitter that I have not seen in years. But, like, we stay in contact with each other.
Or, like, even met. Like, people I don't even know, they're, like...
Yeah, like kids literally at the Friendsgiving last night, one of my homegirls that came through, somebody was asking, like, how we knew each other, and it literally started, like, she shot her friendship shot on Twitter, friendship shot on Twitter, however I said that, but, like, she was just like, yo, like, you seem mad cool, like, your tweets, and, like, ever since then, like, that's my dog, we were rocking and rolling. So, and it's, like, too, like, I consider myself a Twitter OG, like, I'm on my second account, but it's, like, you know, I do like it, this is just, like, man, like, it really goes way back, like, it's so many, I think, historically funny moments, as far as, like,
that originated on
Twitter, like.
I've been on Twitter since... I'm about to date myself for some of the younger listeners. Since like 09. Somebody come in and like, damn, you old as shit. How you been on Twitter since 09? I didn't know it was you know, a thing back then. What do you mean?
Dude, I literally had a girl at my job the other day. She was like, she was talking about something. She was like, like they're almost as old as Taylor. And I was like, excuse me? And it just hit me. I was just like, bro, like, like, granted she's 19. I was just like, I'm 24, and to them, they think, like, that's getting old. Like, no, bro, like.
It is. Because I'm going to be 27 next month, and people really look, my whole, like, front desk staff, I think is under the age of, like, 23. Mm-hmm. So, like, they'll say stuff, and I'll be like, and it's so weird how, while just a 3-year, like, gap is, like, what the disconnect is from, like, my generation and, like, theirs.
Yeah.
Because, like, one of them, like, or a couple of them, like, 19, 20 years old. And, like, that's crazy. Like, when did that happen? I'm like,
you right, no, talking about. Like, literally, like, I talk to my sister all the time because she's 22, but it's like we're so close yet so far apart in age, and I don't think people really sometimes. Well, I ain't gonna say people, younger generations sometimes don't really get that. Yeah. Like, they don't get how different it is. Like, when you tell them that, it's like, bruh, like, what we tell you now about, like, saving your money and focusing on yourself, like, do it now because you gotta do it. Like, 2 years, 3 years from now, they really gotta, like, listen. I'm at the age now where I sound like my elders. Like, I be telling them, like, you need to listen to your parents. They not telling you this to hurt you. Like, I promise you, they telling you to help you. Like, if I knew then what I know now. And even like, just growing up in general. And I think that too is just like, we're getting to that point in age where it's just like now maintaining and creating relationships. Like, you start realizing like how maturing and like growing up, how much of a role that plays in our relationships and being able to grow with one another.
Yeah.
So how you feel like that's kind of impacting you from your perspective, growing in your friendships and yourself, your relationships? What do you feel like that's been like?
It's been hard. Life has been lifing a lot recently, so I just feel like, and it's crazy because I feel like I've had to do more growing this year than I have in a really, really long time. Like, this is like one of those like painful growth spurts. Like, so I feel like I'm like in this weird like isolation period. Mm-hmm. So like I feel like I'm at a point where like my relationships might suffer a little bit over the next couple of months or however long it takes me to get to where I really feel like I need to be.
Yeah.
But only because I've been in situations recently with people that I have surrounded myself with who have like pulled the rug from underneath me.
For sure. You know? I feel that 100% for sure.
I'm just kind of in this thing where like, okay, well, I can't, not that I can't do it with people, but like the people that I've chosen to do it with recently have not been as beneficial to me as I thought that they were going to be.
Yeah, no, for real.
So like maybe let's try the lonely tip for a little while and like really figure myself out, like what I want, what I need to do to really get Cass to where she needs to be. I feel like I haven't had a moment like that in a really long time, if ever, because I've got this like these like abandonment issues that I really have refused to acknowledge and just kind of like, you know, water them down. Which is probably where those people came from. But yeah, so I think that it's just affected me in a way that like it's made me shift entirely like how I feel like I should do things, which is weird because I'm such a community-oriented person, you know, and to feel like I gotta do it alone right now is a very like foreign, like alien type of place to be.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely can feel and relate to that, and I think that's like a very like painful part, and like at least for me, a hard pill to swallow and growth when you are such a giving person, when you are such a people's person, to really embrace that portion of life or the journey with yourself when you have to be alone, or more so not really having to be alone. Because I think it's a difference when you get people that kind of lie and perpetrate to you. They're one thing, but then there's a difference when like you're growing with people and then, you know, the benefit that they once served no longer is, and you have to branch out by yourself and kind of redefine boundaries or redefine what relationships that are not healthy and supporting of you look like, when at one point in time, like, you know, they don't look like the things that you currently need. So that's definitely like a real hard reality to get into. And I think it's crazy because that's what make like, I think having relationships, especially when you truly do become like focus on yourself, they become so hard to maintain when you are willing to start getting uncomfortable with yourself and embracing moments where it's like, you know what, like I love you and I care about you, but right now I have to care about myself a little more. So I can't continue on this relationship as much as I want to, as much as the people person in me, as much as the pleaser in me wants to adjust and adapt to it. I can't right now. So I think that's real.
Girl, the pleaser in me hates that B word, that these boundaries.
Girl.
I still don't know how to stand on a good one. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No,
we're figuring that out right now.
No, like for real. Like.
But it's just like you said, like the people pleasing you just makes it really difficult to like. And I mean those abandonment issues, they don't help either, because it's like, man, when you think about the boundaries that you do have to set, the fear sets in of like, okay, if they give me this time and space or whatever, what is that gonna look like afterwards?
For sure.
Like, are they still going to be there? Like, do I hold on to that hope? Do I not? Or do I accept that it's okay if they're there and it's okay if they're not? You know, because like if you can't let me do my thing or understand that a thing needs to be done, you know, the latter is probably the better way to go.
Yeah, because I think it's like walking like a fine line between like boundaries and entitlement. Like what part of the journey is okay and respectable to say, hey, like in order for you to be in my life or for us to have a fucking relationship, I need and require this and stuff out of you versus what's like, all right, like, you know, this is what I need and require for myself versus what they're able or what they're willing to be able to do and provide in it. And I think, you know, when those conversations I had, those things I said, or those boundaries I set in place, you know, that's when you get into the conversation of like, all right, you know, who is for you and who isn't for you? Because the ones that's for you, you know, they'll be able to adjust and fix those boundaries. And I think the ones that aren't with you, that's when we get into the hard realities of like, all right, like, I'm trying to set this boundary, you're not respecting me.
You're showing out.
And I really think this is like where it's kind of like my beef with settling, or like, I guess more so with, you know, when you're growing with people, you have that line of like, I guess for me right now with myself is trying to understand like, you know, where is it where it's like, okay, like this is me, this is Taylor and what I want versus this is them and where they're in their life and what they want and how we're able to work together with that. And so it's just like, I constantly find myself between this back and forth, like, okay, like, you know, I'm establishing this boundary and I'm trying to have, you know, like understanding with them, but then at the same time, it's just like, you know, they're saying like, okay, like I don't mind respecting this boundary, but the capacity in which you want that boundary respected, you know, out of my own circumstances of my life, I can't really step able to do that. And I think
that sucks though. It's just so hard.
Because it's also too, because I think a lot of times like we like to look at it like people not fulfilling or being able to be there for us or having the rug pulled off of under us. It's like, you know, they these malicious, ill intent people, and sometimes it's not even that. It's just literally like they're their own person on their own journey with themselves, and like whatever reason it may be. You know, it is sometimes that they full of shit. Sometimes that's why they ain't fulfilling and doing what they supposed to do.
It's going like 8 times out of 10.
8 times out of 10.
8 times out of 10.
But that's true though, because the mass majority of people aren't doing what we doing now, and that's being honest and transparent, real with themselves about what they need to do to better themselves. So a lot of the times it is a facade, it is a rug that's under people's foot, and so it's there for comfortability and whatnot. Kind of like that genie in the bottle. You rub them 3 times, grant that wish, and boom, now they gone. Like, you know, never really. I ain't gonna say you never really win, but it's a constant thing of just like humbling yourself when you're growing with yourself and growing in relationships. And, you know, while we getting on this tip, I feel like we're leading down this way. Like, how do you feel like that's influencing your dating life right now? If you are dating, if this a thing, like, you know. Yeah, I don't really know. Like, I feel like I'm about to get in that bed with myself.
The if is crazy, because, like, what is a dating life for real?
No, for real.
I'm staying far away right now, and I think I've come to that decision like today. Like I came to that literally this morning, and I was like, man, you know what? Leave me alone. Like, just leave me alone for real. Like, companions are cool. Like, being in love is cool, and I won't say I'm trying really hard not to let the circumstances that have occurred over the last year and some change to alter how I really feel about love and relationships and stuff. Because like I have a huge heart. I have this huge like desire to love and be loved and like really create that, have that bond with somebody and keep it. It's one thing to have it and establish it, like get it together, but like to keep it.
Girl. Let's talk about it, baby. I get the vibes all day. Keeping it, Lord.
Like, can we stay on track? Like, and I think what's been hard about realizing that is a choice, and you can't operate in that choice just off of the feeling. Like, you have to really be choosing, because us as human beings, like, we evolve every day, and so when 2 people come together who are changing every day, like, that's a lot of movement, like forward, backward, all around. It's like, and it almost seems like too much for me right now, you know, like when I'm in a space where I need to figure out who I am outside of a relationship, because I have had a bad habit in my serious relationships of allowing my partner's interests and things to, I've absorbed them and kind of like maybe put mine on the back burner. So like I don't really know like what Cass likes and what she's into and you know what to do with my free time or what to do at all, you know. So it's just gotten to a point where like if I can't identify as myself outside of this, like there's no way that going into a relationship is going to be productive for me, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely understand that, and I think I think it's dope what you said, especially in the aspect just like, you know, that want for love, like that's not our wrong thing to want. Like, we're human, we're made to love and care about each other, but it's exactly what you said, just being able to identify and know yourself enough to know how to not only receive but give that love in a way that's beneficial to both ends. And you know, for me, I'm like coming off the tip of being like Miss Potential. Like I've been fighting it tooth and nail, but I really I said like I have not been wanting to accept that, you know, this is definitely just my season of being alone, because I wish I could sit up here and be like, yeah, I have the track history of, and I said it, I think the last episode, like I wish I could sit up here and be like, every guy I talked to has just been shitty and just been piss poor and trash. Like, no, like unfortunately, like the reason I know accountability is because I've actually met some pretty decent and great guys along the way. It's just sometimes they just generally was not the person for me, or you know, I wasn't where I need to be within Taylor to be able to receive and embrace, you know, the relationship that was being presented. And you know, now that I'm at this phase, so I'm getting a little bit more honest, a little bit more real with myself, I'm getting a little bit more stable and growing, I'm definitely realizing and embracing, like, you know, because I haven't ever had, I feel like that serious connection. Like I think I love people, and I think I've been loved, but I don't really think I've ever been in love. And I'm a pause on saying that because I think per my most recent encounter, it might be my first authentic encounter with maybe being in love, with being in love. I hate to say it, but it burns like hell because the way I imagine myself falling in love for the first time is not how it has happened, and you know,
it never is.
It's so crazy because I took a call. I'm trying my hardest to come up off of it, and I don't know what it is, and it's love, and it's because I do think that I've been on my healing journey with myself for it's been about 5 years now, that I really started to become a whole more self-aware. I started finding, ways to be accountable for me and the stuff I was dealing with and going through. And it kind of got me in like that growing phase where it's like, I knew better and I was in a position to like do better. But because it was my first time being introduced to those things or being introduced in a situation where neither one of us, I feel like, were bad, but neither party, I feel like, was theoretically ready for what was being presented.
What's ready though? Like, when are you ever ready, right?
And that
it's like having kids.
And that brings me to my point. Like, do you feel like that's like this point in healing and growth that only can occur through relationships to other people?
I don't know. I don't know. I think that it's possible. Like, I definitely don't believe in the whole like come to me healed or don't come at all situation.
Yes.
Like, there's absolutely no point in your life where you are fully 110% like at peace with everything you've ever been through, are going through, or will go through, right? Because like it's just not realistic. That's not how the evolution of people go. So I do think that there is a special ingredient in relationships that does allow us to tap into that vulnerability that's necessary for growth a little bit deeper. And I'm super excited for the day where like my vulnerable partner comes in and I'm like,
my man, I'm ready for you, boo. I'm telling you.
Save me from what these jabronis have been doing to me. No, but yeah, so I think allowing yourself to understand that you will never be 110% perfectly healed and ready for something like a relationship or even a kid, right? Like, opens the door for that to like actually be productive to you.
Yeah, and I think that's even more so why like these conversations, why being willing to get uncomfortable with yourself is so important because when you meet people and things that tend to happen, like you get triggered and stuff, but they open up a door that you didn't even know was there. Let's talk about that one for real. And it's like you have to be willing to not only self-reflect, but have that conversation with them, like, hey, like, I don't know how to tell you this, but when you do this, like, this is the type of response that makes me want to give you, and that may not be the most healthy or the most conducive to this relationship. And you have to be ready, how they're willing to respond to that, if they're going to respond, the way that you need them to.
Are you a person who handles their triggers immediately, or do you have to sit with them a little bit before you respond to what has triggered you?
I'm learning to sit with them for a second because I'm definitely an impulse emotional person. Like, I'm one of the people, like, when I feel something, like, at that moment, like, we about to address it. And when I'm learning, it's like, because I'm, like, on this healing journey with myself, I'm in this season by myself, my emotions tend to go up and down every day. Like, I wake up some days, I'm on 10, everything good. Like, I know, like, I'm going to overcome this. I know I'm on self-care tips. I know I'm a coping mechanisms. I can word it forward and backwards. And there's other days, I don't know what's going on. I'm mad at everybody in the room. I don't like you. I don't like you. I remember when you tried to trigger me here. I remember when you did this bullshit to me on May 8, 2014. Like, hold on. Like, And so what I've learned is, like, I like it in the sense of, like, I do think, like, when I am over stuff, authentically over, like, I'm done, I'm through with it. And, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that when I do feel stuff, I act on it. I don't, like, hide my feelings or nothing. But I've learned, like, there is, like, a process and time needed. So I'm definitely, like, trying to shift from being, immediately responsive today, but more so giving my time self to sit, in those feelings and figure out how 100% feel. Make sure it's not just me, reacting off that emotion, reacting off that trigger, or whatnot, or just, projecting. What about you? What do you think?
I'm like, I'm trying really hard. Like, I'm trying really hard to not be the emotionally triggered. Like, because I'm not nice. Like,
let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
I'm really not nice when somebody triggers like an emotional response out of me, because sometimes I look at my son and I'm like, your feelings are so big, but like to me it's not that serious, right? Because like if I didn't give you an extra fruit snack, bro, chill out. But it really hurts him, and so I look at him and I'm like, man, your feelings are huge. And then like I think about what I just said and I'm like, wow, you're really my kid, because like in the adult world,
it's not that deep, and it's like, but I want another fruit snack, because I just literally saw a tweet that just said that it's like, it's not that deep to you because it's not your feelings, and like, if that is not my freaking life story.
I know, and so I have gotten a lot better. I mean, in my first like serious relationship, towards the end, I said like crazy shit to that man, like, and we have healed past that, and we are over it, and we have a great relationship now. But like it still bothers me that like I said stuff like that, you know.
Facts, no, for sure.
And in my most recent relationship, you know, I also said some not nice things. Now I have not yet gotten to the point where I feel bad about those things, just because of the reasons I said them. Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever feel bad about those in particular, but I do know that a lot of that was probably unnecessary, you know. No, I probably didn't have to say all that stuff, but I mean, fuck it, you hurt my feelings.
Yeah, no,
bro.
for real, no, I feel, because same here, literally, it's so crazy, because something I realized about myself is like, I got a smart ass mouth, like I know that. When I get triggered, like I'm like, on Jersey Shore, what's the name? The short one,
Snooki.
Yeah,
no,
she's
sure.
was it Snooki? But I'm the sweetest bitch you ever meet. Like, no, that was
Angelina,
or whatever her name
Angelina.
was.
Yeah,
you know who we're talking about. I'm the sweetest bitch you ever. That's literally
Don't
me.
correct us.
Like, okay,
Don't correct us.
Having a little moment. I can't remember, but y'all know what I'm referencing. But anyway, like that's literally me, and what really made me realize, you know, going back to my point of realize I need to take a second to process my emotions before responding, was because of that exact thing. Like my first encounter with now feeling like I had been in love. I won't say the unfortunate party on the other end, but the person in my eyes that made me fall in love with them, because for reasons we ain't gonna disclose on the podcast.
That's fine.
we ain't gonna incriminate ourselves. There came a point in time where it's just like I did let my emotions get the best of me, and I'm talking about like I flew off the handle and I said some shit where it was just like it was understandable to be upset and me being upset, but it was unjustifiable in the shit that I said. It was like, you know, it was one thing for you to feel some type of way, but you know the reaction itself went wrong, but the overreaction and just how I spoke down, not just spoke to, but spoke down, like it is to this day still one of my regrets. While I can't say there has been healing and progress from it, I do think there has been a form of forgiveness, but do I think things have 100% truly recovered? And this is only speaking from my end, not their end, but you know, from my end, no, not at all. And do I think that it might be one of those things, you know, and not only, you know, just speaking on me, let me not be a woman and be like, because we don't forget about him the shit he done did, but, you know, staying in my lane of accountability, you know, do I think that when I had to look at my wrongs in the situation, that there are things that, you know, may have left permanent scars, that stuff, you know, maybe, potentially, I don't really know, still working through that, but, go ahead.
Maybe you deserve it.
Yeah, but see, and that's what the situation before my most recent one, I just recently had to go tell a nigga off, and I feel no remorse. Like, I ain't came up off that block button or reneged that said, you know, I ain't meaning like that since it's been almost a month and a half now, and I ain't felt no type of way because I feel like you said, you hurt my feelings. You know, I believe there's like the thing where somebody deserves certain reactions. Like, I believe the high road is necessary in situations where it's like, it's more so you're dealing with a trigger that is wanting you to respond in a lower manner and whatnot, versus being in a situation where it's like, you try to not respond in that way, but you know, they keep poking the bear. And in that situation, they kept poking the bear, and that's like, all right, fuck that. Like, I got you.
I gotta show you who I am for real.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because like I'm trying not to be hurt. Like,
no, really. So what would you say is like maybe one of the, since we're on this like bridge of like being honest, being real with yourself, what would you say is maybe like one of your harder realities that you had to have with yourself since you've been on your journey of like self-love and growth?
Because sometimes I am the problem.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about being the problem.
Sometimes I'm the problem, and sometimes my pain is like really my fault. So, and that's been hard because I feel like a lot of times the initial impact is not, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like the paths I take afterwards really haven't been conducive to like a healthy state of mind for me. Mm-hmm. So I think that maybe some of the choices that I've made like could have prevented some of this backtracking in my healing journey that I'm trying to like dig myself out of, you know? And I'm not a perfect person.
For sure. None of us are. I'm
not gonna hold you though, I'm pretty close. So like
no, like look, God ain't he ain't miss. Like I'm gonna get into mine and everything.
I'm not a perfect person by any means. But like I said, I'm pretty close. Yeah. Like I do feel like I approach things with as much honesty as I can stand or understand. You know?
For sure.
And I know that like my four eyes aren't the only ones that exist on this plane. So I do have to reel myself back in and take in others' points of view and really try my best to understand them. Yeah. Even if I don't agree. So that's been really hard for me because I feel like my emotions justify everything.
Yeah, no, emotions are always valid. Like they are always valid.
And I don't what I don't really understand is people who move logistically versus like off of their emotions. Like that's that whole people who are raised off of like survival versus people who are raised off of love. Yeah. But I feel like if you weren't really raised off of either definitively, like I feel like I was, I don't really know how to process either one.
Same. No,
so
I feel that.
I'm in a weird like space of limbo where I'm like, okay, like I guess I can see it. I don't agree and I don't understand, even though I know that my very visceral reactions aren't right either. So it's like a weird spot to be in.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that because like you were saying, you know, for me, it's been one thing where like I haven't been so much looking at it as like having to accept that I'm the problem, but more so in me is having to accept that I'm wrong sometimes. Like I'm like, you know, like I love going this hand to like, you know, I ain't always right, but I'm never wrong. but I've had to learn like, you know, sometimes I'm wrong, and it's not so much wrong in the sense of being problematic, but wrong in the sense of like, you know, I have, you know, let my emotions get the best of me. Whereas things, it's like, you know, okay, you're right in the sense of having a reaction. You're right in the sense of like you are valid in your emotions, and that did hurt you and stuff, and they are messed up for doing that. Yeah, that was wrong and whatnot, but for you to react in the way that you do, for you to get on their level and retaliate and stuff, that puts you in the same wrongness and stuff as them. And so.
Yeah, but you know how I said like sometimes people deserve it. Like I really do feel like if you go low, like we going to hell sometimes. You know, for sure. Like,
no, for sure. And
like I really feel like that sometimes that's justifiable too. So I guess it's just finding the balance of like what deserves that energy and what doesn't.
No, definitely. I feel that 100%. I think as I'm coming from the background being a person where I really felt like, you know, anything I did was because it was warranted. Like, I felt like, you know, because I do look at myself as, like you said, I'm damn near perfect if you ask me. Like, literally, like, every guy I've ever talked to, had relationships with, I always ask them, you know, in reflection, like, you know, why doesn't it work out? You know, what do you think about this? You know, hindsight and stuff. And, like, they'll tell me, like, I didn't think it was a problem at all, or it wasn't you, it was me. And I know sometimes that's bullshit, or, you know, I will get the occasional, like, you know, ain't nothing wrong with you, you crazy. But it's just like, you know, as I really have been growing with myself and learning myself, I kind of have gotten to this point where it's like, I've learned, like, as much as justifiable it is to match energy with people, because like you said, some things are just deserved. Like, you can't, you know, you can't slap somebody in the face and get mad if they punch you. Like, a hit is a hit, a lick is a lick. Like, you throwing rocks and hot in your hands and don't get mad if a brick come back. Like, I don't really know what to tell you, but as I've grown and learned myself, I really have learned, like, I always tend to feel the worst in those situations, and that's why I tend to always find myself tend to overgive and overcompensate is when I step out of my character and I meet people where they at, rather than doing things like leaving the first time. And that a lot of times that has to do with my people-pleasing tendencies that kicked in, and because I know I can be a person like, I couldn't do things like that, but I'm not, because I want to be so understanding, because like you said, come off a background where you were raised, off both love and survival. I get sometimes life circumstances puts us in some of the most unfortunate positions that we don't need to be in. But because I get, when you love and care about people, you able to stand with them and get with them, do that stuff. Like, a lot of the times, like, I find myself making excuses, and then when they find out like the excuse either is some bullshit, the rug get pulled off from under my feet, I be mad as hell, not only because you don't pull the rug off of my feet, but because I knew the potential was there and I gave into it anyway. And that's like, had I walked away the first time, it probably wouldn't have been. And not to be any more long-winded, but I just have gotten to this place where it's like I really don't realize that, like, for me, like, not reciprocating energy right now is like the most beneficial thing. Like, even when I know they deserve it, like choosing to like walk away and take the high road, like that is now becoming like that better mechanism and stuff for me, because I'm not gonna knock you. Like it is a lot of benefit and reward in giving people the same energy. At one point in time, like, I felt no remorse about it, and I think it's just where I'm at now, my growth, because I take like my energy, my emotional stress myself a little bit more, I won't say serious, but I'm a little bit more mindful with myself now about how I express and where I exhaust my emotions. And it's just like, I'm gonna like, you know what, let me not do that until
I want to get there so bad. I'm there right now, like, to an extent. Like, I'm in a space where maybe I won't say I don't go there at all, but like, I prolong my responses to certain shit, because it's like, is it worth like ruining this moment right now if I'm feeling like okay? Right?
No, for sure. My aunt literally just said on her on the episode that I just did with her, she was just like, something she's learned like in the business world when it came to like, separating business from personal, is don't let the situation way more than a relationship. And that, like, when she said it to me, I was like, bro, I'm gonna have to put that shit on a t-shirt, because no, for real. And then somebody that is like very emotional and does tend to react on their emotions first, like, I would say, I was just telling my sister now, like, I learned like sometimes it has caused me to like burn bridges and stuff that really didn't need to be burned. They just need to be walked away from. Like, it's like you can clearly see the bridge was already fucked up when you got here. You didn't have to go and burn it down. Like, acknowledging that it was a fucked up bridge was enough. But no, because you, first of all, you thought you could pull out your toolkit and fix it. But you can't fix the bridge. You couldn't fix that bridge. You don't have the proper equipment or the tools needed for it. You're not Bob the Nigga. You're not Bob the Builder. Like, this is not Build-A-Bill workshop. Like, put the stuffing down, sis. You could have just walked away, and that's universal. I'm joking with niggas, y'all, but that's universal friendship and relationships. Like, when you see the red flags, when you see the messed upness, like, do yourself a favor and just go ahead and walk away the first time. It's like, I be realizing, like, rather than going ahead and be like, well, it's already fucked up, I'm gonna just set it ablaze now. Like, I'm gonna knock all this shit over now. Like,
I don't know, save the next bitch for me.
Right, I'm gonna just burn the bridge down. Like, that was my, and that used to be like my MO. Like, really, I'm trying to help them grow. Like, I'm gonna teach them, I'm gonna show them why they should never do this ever again, because you might go up in flames. Other people, they might have just put a hole in the bridge. They might have just took a leg or something off the table, maybe loosened the fruit screws. Me personally, I'm gonna burn the whole thing down. You have to start from scratch, and I'm gonna show you why working on yourself is important, because now you have nothing to go off of. But I learned, like, that becomes like really emotionally exhausting and damaging for both people. And it's just like, sometimes you can really just be like, what, let me put the gasoline down. And let me go over here and rub some grass. Like, let me go ahead and touch the grass for a little bit and get my arm and get my energy right. Because I think too, like, I don't know if you have got like to this point in like your growth and healing, but like when it comes to dealing with like your family and stuff like that, like, girl, like, I would say that that's one area where like learning the high road at, like, I'm still kind of like, I'm kind of struggling. Yeah, because it's like I'm learning like this is a high road, but at the same time it's like, the only reason that this road is even here, the only reason we even having to take a detour is because y'all messed up the road. Like, first of all, I wouldn't even be here. We wouldn't have this map if it wasn't for y'all. Like, has y'all got y'all shit together? Has y'all been paying attention to y'all directions when we got to mine? Like, we didn't even, like, first, I didn't even ask to be here. But it's like
I've said that like 6 times this week. Like, y'all wanted to get something, and I'm out here fighting for my fucking life. Like,
no, really. Like, what do you say? Like, growing with your family is like that. Like, what do you feel like that journey in itself is?
I'm in this weird place. I feel like I've said that 100 times this episode, but I'm in this weird place where I'm realizing
it's weird as hell
that my familial relationships are not really what I thought they were. And after my most recent separation, the ending to my last relationship, I have really tried to figure out, like, what's the problem? Like, why do I keep going through stuff like this? Like, why do these things keep happening to me? And that's not to go against God or whatever, because you're not really supposed to ask that. Like, oh, God, why is this happening? But I had to dig and really realize, like, the relationships that I had formed, the closest relationships that I had formed to me are also not great ones. So I don't really have a solid basis of a healthy relationship, whether that be like familial or in a an actual relationship. Platonically, I have had really good relationships, but I've also had really bad ones too. Like I've had really weird situations that I've been in with other women or other men that were just platonic friends. And not romantic relationships. So I would say that is few and far between. So I think that in this journey that I'm in right now is addressing those issues. But see, the thing about family is, like, because it's been so long, I'm pushing 30. Like,
girls.
And you can't tell, you got a little ways to go. You haven't hit the hump yet. But
I got so much, like 25 right now, man. 25
you got hit the hump yet. Wait till 25 is over, then you really start to feel like.
And it's so crazy. Everybody says that. I tell you, like, I turned 20. I literally, when I turned 23, like, it started hitting. I was like, damn, like, it's no more young ages. Like, everything now is just getting older. Like, you going 24, 25, 26, and now it's like at 24. I'm like,
and then it's gonna start flying.
25, 27, like 30.
48 about to be right around the corner. But you can't, what I've learned about the family thing is that you can't really tell them that they were wrong. You can't really tell them why you feel like you do, right? Like, if I say with my mom, if I was to bring up something that happened when I was real young, like, all of a sudden it never happened.
Girl, but our parents are the most like, it ain't been, it ain't it, and never did that.
I don't remember that. Like,
we just so delusional and crazy and deranged to do. Like, we make shit up in our head. Like,
and I'm not gonna hold you. I was a terrible teenager, but I have to think about, like, why I was that way. It was because I wasn't in an environment where I felt safe, or I felt like I could really be myself, like comfortable being myself. So I just lashed out a lot, and my mom talks about it all the time. And she's like, you were just awful, like, you were terrible. And I'm like, I know I was, but I avoid an argument by being like, I was, because I really could say, I was like, why do you think that is? And get into a 4-hour-long discussion about how this, that, and the other made me feel this way, but you're never gonna see it that way. That's fine. I think I've come to this place of acceptance where, like, that part of my life is never gonna meet me where I'm at right now. I just have to kind of treat myself accordingly.
And I think that kind of gets into, like, my question earlier about, like, is there a certain level of healing and growth that only can occur through relationships or with relationships with other people? And, on that journey with your family, like, that's one area where I'm learning, like, the only way it gets better is actively working through those traumas, actively working through those triggers, actively working through those problems with them. Because, for me, when I went off to college, like, that's when I started really becoming, familiarized with myself. I started learning, like, oh, you got triggers. I started learning things like, oh, like, like, some of my avoidant tendencies and stuff came from abandonment issues and stuff, came from stress with my parents. Started becoming aware of, like, depression and stuff. It's not that you don't care and stuff, that you depressed. Like, you give, first of all, that's why you're so damn emotional, because you really care. You give a big fuck, but you just don't know. You don't know chemically your brain is imbalanced right now, and that's why it ain't like you ain't angry and mad at the world for nothing. Like you got some real issues, like trauma is stored inside the body, so you got some shit you need to work out for real. And it was just like I had a lot of time. I think being away in college to and then also I think too being a psychology major, to get out end up working together where I was able to work on myself. But then I think, I had this moment where I thought okay, I know myself, I know my triggers, I know what's wrong with me, okay. I acknowledge I got mommy issues, I had daddy issues, I know how to go, it's gonna be fine, it's okay. I realized I didn't have the picture perfect life and stuff, or better yet, everybody else had issues and flaws. I didn't have the worst life story either, and I think when I went back and I started trying to apply my new self to my family, and I started getting similar feedback, but they were still acting the same stuff because they weren't as thorough in their knowledge of mental health and stuff. They weren't as aware their trauma and trigger. The better yet, they were on their own journey with themselves. I had this big ass shock. Well, I was just y'all mean to tell me I've been up here crying, I've been up here praying and talking to God, and y'all not happy that rather than cussing y'all out the first time, rather than yelling at y'all the first time, I'm trying to talk to you. I'm trying to tell you as my mother, I'm trying to tell you how I feel. I'm trying to provide you one understand, so you can just stop thinking that I'm smart ass and I'm just being mouthy with you for no reason. So you can stop saying I hate you. I'm trying to express to you that I don't feel like you support me or hear me when I say and this is the feedback that I get. Excuse me.
So thanks I get for not just cutting y'all off.
And it is I really I had to have a humbling moment with myself and realize they are our parents, our family and friends. They're just like us. They learn it and grow themselves just like us. And so I started having to recognize especially being that it seems when you got the upper hand of self-awareness, you have the upper hand of understanding of mental health, having to be both the learner in the relationship, but also now the teacher, especially with your parents working with that. That was mad hard, but I can say on the flip side, it's getting to a point for me where it's just I think I can say I am now having a growing healthy relationship with my parents, a growing healthy relationship with my siblings. My things still are not perfect. They definitely have grown a lot from where they're at, and I think that just comes from being able to get uncomfortable with them, being able to be real with them, be yo, listen, I know you was going through some shit, but what you did, back then, that shit fucked me up real bad, real bad. And you might not like it, you might not feel that way, but that's what it is. And you telling me that I shouldn't feel that way is not making me feel that way any less. So we need to figure out what we need to do from here.
Yeah, I think I've gotten to a point in that part of my journey where I've just accepted that they did the best that they could. But it wasn't great, and that's cool. That's cool.
That's okay, and that's okay.
I because I can't say that and it get decently acknowledged. You feel me? So I've reached this point where I either continue to try and force y'all to see what happened and why I felt the way that I felt and why I did the things that I did, or I can accept that for what it is and know what I need to do to not go down that same road, especially as a parent, when Hendrix does stuff that triggers me and I react maybe how my parents might have, I tend to sit down and reel it back, and I have to pick myself apart because I'm damn, he definitely doesn't know any better, just like I didn't know any better, but I was a little older, so I do a lot of apologizing to my toddler.
That's really good. No, that's great that you do that, because I think that's very healthy and stuff, and very validating in his emotions. So I think that's good, because I think for me it's a little bit on the flip side where it's I notice, since I don't have kids, I know it's from my parents. I know when I'm talking about parents being the child in the situation, I say that's really good because I catch my mom, now she does those things, and us having conversations about my mental health and my traumas, I catch her now trying to practice that awareness where if she might say something like this and she's well, I'm not trying to say it like this or say it like that, and I catch myself doing a lot of the same things where it's and talking to her when we were just getting in there, when I had to bring up points or times that she did something, that made me feel away, or I bring up the trauma that I experienced in the house, she said, well, that can happen, I didn't do that, and stuff. I've learned working through those conversations, and sometimes I trigger her, and being able to pull myself back, okay, we not ready for that box yet, because there might not be the time, it might just be a bad time to try to talk about it, or this might be me getting into a box or a time and place where my mom isn't ready to talk about it because she hasn't dealt with those things within herself. Yeah. So that's like, that's fair. While we're on the tip, we've been talking about family, then got into that, talked about a lot of reflection, applying ourselves, learning how to love. Learning how to love ourselves more, grow with ourselves. With it being the holiday season, we in a thankful mode. What are some things that you've been thankful for this year? Like, we talk a lot about growing. Like, what are we thankful for through all of this growth?
That it happened?
That it happened.
Yeah, I think that my biggest takeaway from this year is, like, I've said a couple times, this has been the worst fucking year ever. Like, but I think it's not been bad in like any detrimental way other than like my mental health. But kept a good job, kids healthy, rent paid, car paid, like everything's in good standing, It's just been a really annoying year, and I think more so for myself, but completely necessary. And it's like, damn, like why does this have to happen? And then the thankful portion of it is that that it did happen, because now looking back on where I was 6-7 months ago, I am in a much more firm position. Like, I'm in a very stand up for myself type of vibe. And I don't think I've ever been that way. I don't think I've ever been in a position where I really spoke up for myself, or I really stood on my feelings and made somebody else stand on how they treated me. So as far as that growth goes, I'm thankful that all of this ridiculous shit has happened, because I can actively day to day see myself detaching from these super unhealthy patterns and coping mechanisms and these unhealthy attachments that I've given myself over the last couple of years.
No, I think I feel that. Big emphasis on being thankful, because while it's not always beautiful and it doesn't always feel the best, you've been saying, you say, I'm in this weird phase, but that's literally
just fucking weird.
It's all weird, literally, I feel so odd every day. I really feel like the odd man out right now, the redheaded stepchild, the black sheep, those are definitely the vibes. So just that thankfulness, that gratitude, because at the end of the day, it always for the betterment. And so just being able to even sit and reflect and see the growth and the transformation within yourself, and to kind of see where you're at and where you're going, it's really, really dope and really fun. I feel that just being thankful just for the experience in life, I guess.
Yeah, because what's the alternative? Exactly. If you think about all the shit that we've had to go through over this last year, what's the alternative? Being dead.
And that's literally,
just not getting to go through anything at all, Yeah,
and I think that's the dope thing about actually working on yourself and being able to admit sometimes you're the problem or sometimes you're wrong. It's once you do it, it's nothing left to do from it but improve, become better, grow from it, learn from it, heal from it, and whatnot. My big theme for myself this year has been not giving myself excuses, because I think a lot of times those excuses come from those what ifs. What if this happened? What if that happened? It's we think about all these crazy downfalls, all these crazy negative solutions, crazy outcomes. It's what if you did it? What if you tried yourself? What if you did spend a little bit of time alone and it worked out for your benefit? What if you embrace it? We live in these also comfortable relationships, that better and support you more, that'll be even more comfortable and more beautiful. And so I think that's really big on the big life. Shout out to Big God, man. You shouted him out a little earlier, and I wanted to bring a point up about that, because I don't feel like people really understand and get how, or maybe I can only speak for myself, let me not say people, because everybody believes in different entities, and everybody higher being is different. But but for me, mine is God, and it's just I'll leave it in a general sense of spirituality, but getting personal with it, just growing with and learning to have that faith and trust in God, that these things, these moments of solitude and stuff are for the better. That has been so helpful for me. I don't know if you can relate to that.
Kind of. So in the weird. I gotta get another word.
Weird is the word of the episode. That's the word, brother. No, because you hit. That's what it is. It's weird.
It's just
really weird.
I have in all of the things that I've been going through, I have not yet released control. I know that about myself. God knows that about me. Like
big on the control.
Oh my God.
Big on the control.
It's the worst because like I get into like my little Bible study group chat and they're like, all right, what are we struggling with? And I'm like, letting go and letting God. I don't know what that looks like. Because I feel like I got the tools. Like if God's gonna take care of it, that means He gave me what I need to take care of it. So I'm gonna just do it because He's busy, right? Like that shit don't ever work out.
Girl, like literally, like
the tools are not tooling.
Girl, they not tooling at all. Like having to really embrace like that. Life is just literally never gonna happen how I imagine, but it's gonna happen how God wants it to. Like this whole like thing of patience. That's why I was saying earlier. Like I've been fighting this season tooth and nail, but like literally, it's like God is forcing me. I have no excuse to not be by myself.
Like, bro, just give me a hint. Like, just give me a hint.
Can I get a clue? Can I get a blues clues? Like, come on.
And then it's like I do the dumb shit that I know I'm not supposed to do, or I ignore that intuitive feeling. You know, the one that tells you should walk away the first time, the one that we've been talking about. I ignore that, and I'm like, wait, no, let me try something first.
Okay.
And then I'm stuck, like, asking for a sign, and then when God sends me His sandal to the back of my head, like, I'm like, no, a louder one, a different one, something else, like, and it's a vicious cycle of, like, His ignorant child. Like, I get it, though. Like,
no, for real. It's like I gave myself this little saying this year. It's like, you know, sometimes it's not that we are God's toughest soldiers. Sometimes we just His most hard-headed one. Like, sometimes that's all it is. You just hard-headed. God ain't even call me to be tough right now. You just being hard-headed. Because I told you 3 times not to go through the door, but you went through it anyway.
You know what's crazy? I told you when I was getting here, like, I was looking at the outline, and that sheriff or the state trooper, like, came out. I mean, I saw him parked and came out right behind me. I was on my phone. I was speeding because I have no self-control. And that would have been like my 7th or 8th like speeding ticket. And I slowed down immediately after I saw him pulling out. And I was like, Jesus, please, like,
come on, God.
Like,
come on,
come
God.
like,
Come on.
I was like, God, please. And so
please,
he comes from all the way in the left lane. He comes from the off ramp or whatever. He's in the right lane, and then he gets in the left lane. So I try my luck, and I'm like, Jesus, please. So I go into the right lane. And I'm like, please, God, don't let him follow me. And he didn't. He's still right there. But as soon as he hit like my tail light, bro, took off. And I was like, that wasn't funny. Like that wasn't funny. But then I was like, I get it. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, just. But that's pretty much how all of my situations go.
No, literally, that's how it goes, and that's like why I think like the whole like put me like this part of like forgiveness on like my healing journey. While I was there, like, you know, learning how to sit in my emotions. A lot of that has to come with just being able to forgive things and being able to accept that they're not gonna be perfect. They're not gonna show you know the right way every time. I don't mean you gotta be quick to critique or put it down. Just, you know, sit for a second and chill. And it's like, you know, when I got to talking to God, it's like I be want to tell him like, okay, but why would you send this to me if anything less than perfect? Like, if you love, like, why did you say, like, if you really love me like that, why are you trying to test me? Like, why are you trying to do that?
Bro, because you're praying for patience and strength and everything in between, and he gonna send you situations to make you strong and situations to test your patience.
But
and I just feel like that's
exactly
super unfair. Like,
yeah.
I just feel like that's unfair. That's why learning how to specifically pray is.
It's unfair because listen, and I learned that because if you don't get specific, God will, I mean, you ask for it. Like, there's no way, first of all, like, I was saying this on Twitter the other day, like, there's no way you're going to convince me God is not black. Like, I know he's black. He has the mind frame, the humor. Like, I don't know, when he talked to me, it's the dialect of a black person. Like, just like the whole, he don't show up when you want him to, but he always right on time. Like, that ain't like the blackest thing ever. Like, I swear to God, like, I just be like, bro, like, come on, man. Like, you dragging me through the mud. And the thing is, it's kind of like when he put things on your heart, or he starts to like show you your purpose and path in life. Because more so, I know for me right now, that's like where a big piece of like my healing journey has led me. It's like getting into my purpose, and now having to be like patient. It's like, God, like, you putting all this in front of me, but every time I touch something, the shit don't line up with what you showing me. So why you keep putting it in my way?
It's not turning to gold.
It's okay.
Like, I don't know what's going on here, but it's not turning to gold.
Okay, I thought you told me I had to touch. I thought you said this was the one. No, this. Okay, and this is where, you know,
you said it was the one in my voice.
In my voice. I told you I have one for you. You just, you know, you was doing your own thing, but I'm here, I got you. For sure.
The terrible reality of being one of God's most hard-headed children.
No, for real, like, it's tough out here, man. It's tough out here, really being God's, like, favorite, but all his toughest, but also his most hard-headed child. Like, me and him, we locked in for real. Like, I know he's doing great things, but it's like, damn, man, like, ease up on me, bitch.
Throw me a bone.
No, for real, please. Wow. I think it's been a good episode.
This has been great. I low-key miss being in front of a mic.
Okay, no, for real. Like, I was just literally sitting here I was trying to record myself by myself the other day. And I'm just like, damn, like, I miss just sitting there and just really, like, talking and stuff. Like, just truly enjoying conversation. And, girl, I needed this. Like, I need a little girl talk. Because I've been going crazy with the Hometown Hero series. And I just started back getting with my, like, wind down. It's just having, like, you know, conversation. So I definitely missed this. And this was on time. This definitely is the Hill Hotties episode. Like,
yes,
y'all gotta lock in with us. Lock in with us for sure.
Do that. This is.
Y'all know.
It's been necessary. Like I said, this week has been like so emotionally trying, and this was a good like reel me back in type of thing. So you give you your flowers now. You are definitely doing shit that is necessary to the community. This is not your everyday podcast. Like this is and no shit. It's a Grit Talk because Grit Talk is my first true love of podcasting. Like
I love y'all. Like, y'all Grit Talk was the first podcast I ever came on. Like I got they pay homage and they got a big part right here. Big part.
You're doing shit that like Grit Talk didn't do. Like things that are necessary for people to be like. We do this because we love it, but I mean when there's a true purpose and meaning behind it, like that's when it really aligns, and you definitely got that.
Man, Cass, girl, don't make me cry tonight, girl. You know, we've been saying y'all know wind down. It's a wind down episode. You feel me? Don't make me cry. Man, shout out to you, girl, because you out there going and going. Like, if I you the perfect person to do this episode with. Like, I really like y'all female podcasters. Like, she hold that shit down. She really hold that shit down. She is the first lady of Grit Talk podcast. Like, get at my girl. Like, she's doing big shit. Like, y'all heard her running her receipts earlier. Like, that's a big boss. That's a big mama. And that's a real big, real hot, real fly hottie right there. Your favorite podcaster. Like, y'all know her. Y'all know it.
Your favorite podcaster. I was thinking you made me want to go Beyonce with it, but we gonna see. We'll take
like that, you know, like I be trying, you know, I give my flowers. It's like when they say they're trying to get like you, not trying to get like you. Like, that's me. Nah, I always gotta give a compliment with a compliment, and I be working on trying to just take them, but it's just like, man, like if it literally wasn't for people like you, wasn't for relationships like what we have growing and getting to know each other, like I wouldn't have the purpose and the meaning behind TalksWIthTay. Because I know it's like as amazing as it is for people to see it on screen, they're looking like, oh shit, like they doing this, they doing that. Like we are able to do those things because we have conversations like this, we have moments like this, we have spaces like this that cultivate us and being able to manage everything that we do on our day-to-day. So it's only right if I give flowers back.
There we go.
I
appreciate it. You know.
They know what it is in me. They know how to find TalksWIthTay. I mean, they tuned in, they tapped in right now. But, you know, it's your favorite podcaster. Like, you dig?
Yo, it's because I'm not even an OG on that podcast.
she got her
I'm not even for, but I'm really the best one that came out them 2 seasons. You ain't heard nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth, big Cass.
So if you want to go and listen to what was once the greatest podcast on the planet, I don't know where it's going later, but where it's at right now is pretty high. It's at Grit Talk Podcast on all of your favorite platforms. Or Whose Man's Is This, where my man Shot from the Floor and I get into the big talks about men and women and relationships and shit like that, because you know that's a different the man that was sitting here on that last episode, that's not the man I was trying to put in that podcast.
That's a new shot. That's a new shot. And we love Shot.
We love him. I've been knowing Shot almost 10 years, and that's not the same person that was sitting in this chair.
I'm trying to tell y'all. But boy for the culture though, he for the people.
He is. He gonna egg it on when he needs to. Otherwise,
true Virgo.
In the worst way. I'm raising one, and I can already feel it.
Yeah, Virgo, they different.
Yeah. difference of the earth signs. But yeah, so listen to those two. Tap in with me on my social medias, KASRBER, both Instagram and Twitter. I'm hilarious and very cute. So
hey, period. Fine. Now she plays y'all. She's fine. She's not cute. She's fine. She's fine. She's fine, and she's hilarious.
There we go. Don't let them try to play me though, because them men on Grit Talk really don't think I'm funny.
They be hating. They be hating.
I'm really like that. Don't let them
okay, no, she's hilarious. For sure. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Cass, thank you so much for coming on.
Having me. Yeah, I can't tell you. I'm so excited.
I know. I'm ready to run it out. I'm ready to release this to y'all because y'all need this conversation. This one is strictly for the ladies. This is for the girls. This is the get your homegirls. Yeah, y'all pull up, get y'all the wine, get y'all some popcorn, and y'all get ready to enjoy this episode. Cause
paint and sip and wine down.
Okay,
do
I'm
that.
trying to tell you. We right here for y'all. But I will see you guys next week. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of TalksWithTay with my girl, Big Cass, in the building, not the building.